Here we have a question about cosine and arc cosine. So they say the cosine of the arc cosine of negative 0.6. Now what's arc cosine? That's just a fancy word for inverse cosine. They're the same thing. So as we look at this problem, I think what we would like to do is just cancel these out and say the answer is negative 0.6. Is that true? Because they're inverse functions. Shouldn't they cancel? The answer is yes, usually. And then the usually is the trick. There's a couple steps we have to go through. So let's go look at the notes for what they are. Well, you can look at the notes. I'll tell you the first step is to decide if this thing is an angle or an answer. Right? For a normal cosine function, we put in an angle, like cosine of pi over 6. And that is root 3 over 2. We put in an angle and we get out an answer. So that means vice versa for an inverse trig function, we would put in the answer, get out the angle. So which one's this? Well, what is it? It is inside of what? It's inside of this cosine inverse. So if you're inside a cosine inverse, you are it is an answer. It's an answer. It must be an answer, not an angle, because you plug answers into cosine inverse. You plug angles into regular cosine. So that must be an answer. This must be an answer. Okay, so it's an answer. So what do we do with it then? Well, secondly, you find out, is it in the limited domain? And the domain for cosine inverse answers are -1 to +1. So if you do a number line, here's -1, here's +1, here's 0, negative 0.6 is about right there. So is it between these two? Yes. Yes, it's between those two. So if that's the case, if it's yes, then the answer is yes, they cancel, and the answer is just simply what you started with, because these guys just cancel out inside the limited domain. They just cancel out, and your answer is negative 0.6. Now, if it was not in the limited domain, it gets more complex, and that's on some other examples.